All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the November meeting of the Athens in Motion Commission. This also serves as our annual meeting. So we will reserve some time, the last half hour, to go through our year and talk about what 2024 could look like. But first, I'm going to share our agenda for today. Text. There we go. I guess I should do roll call.
With two L's.
What'd you say?
It's in two L's, says roll. The agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I sent you an email.
Please pick a title.
Roll call. The commissioners.
We don't have a title on these. Thank you. I'm here. Art.
I'm here.
Teresa. Here. Randy.
Here.
Alan. Ed.
Here.
Julie.
Here.
Right. Craig. And Blaine.
Here.
Welcome. Daniel, do we have any public comment?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, this is our agenda for today. I'd like to do a quick round with commissioners about the Georgia Bike Walk Live Summit. So maybe one thing you want to take away. So I've set aside 15 minutes for that in lieu of, we're not going to do big committee updates because we have our annual report. And then we'll do staff updates at 4:30, 30 minutes. Something new is our crash report from November, and I'm hoping this can be a monthly thing. This is a great thing that Sherelle has put together. I hope you all have had a chance to look at it. If you haven't, we'll pull it up.
She did a great job.
And general updates, and then our annual meeting and work plan. So we'll take two separate votes for those, but that's going to be like one document. And if we have time, we'll do a commissioner round, and we will end at 5:30. I need to go to the job and do a 6 o'clock meeting. Yeah, any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Just the date. It's 27th on there.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all. All right, with that, I will entertain a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next, we have our minutes from October. No one was absent. It's great. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So any additions, corrections to our minutes from October?
Under the committees section for policy and projects, those attending were Daniel, myself, and Teresa. Question mark.
At the beginning. I don't see a question mark. Oh, you might have put it, I'm on the drive version. That's probably why I don't see a question mark. Where
Okay.
was it?
It's under Athens Motion Committees.
Down.
Yeah, past the
Major. Let's keep going.
Here we go.
One more. Minutes. There we go.
Okay, so what was the correction?
it was myself, Teresa, and Daniel.
Oh, yes, because I did not go to that one. Thank you.
You did.
Any other? I will entertain a motion to approve our minutes from October.
Make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Randy.
I'll second.
Second, Teresa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Wonderful. Thank you, Blaine. And next, we are right on time for our report backs from the Georgia Bike Walk Live Summit. Craig, Alan, Randy, myself, did I miss anybody? Of course, Daniel and Sherelle were there. Scott Long was there. We attended this event. It was there were transportation professionals across the state. Of course, we helped sponsor it as well as the mayor's office did. And so I just want to maybe do a round and say one or, maybe up to two takeaways that y'all have personally. And Daniel, you're welcome to share. And Scott, if there's something that you would like to share, love to hear it. Anyone want to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
One of the things I've, as probably many of you have thought about, is how to make Athens a town that has more of a biking culture. And I just haven't been able to wrap my head around it. But one of the presenters there made a good point that in other towns, what they have done is tried to get teaching how to ride a bike into the public schools and supplying the public schools with Strider bikes, which are bikes without pedals, to teach the kids how to ride them. You get the kids learning how to ride the bikes, then all of a sudden the parents want safe places for their kids to ride the bikes. So you build a generational piece. I really like that piece. I'm not sure exactly how to get that further in schools. It sounds like we need some big pocket investors. Scott mentioned that they do it over at Oglethorpe, apparently is the only school that has that currently, but I'm not sure if that is something that would fit our purview, but it would be very interesting to see if there's a way to find somebody with deep pockets. So you have to be able to supply the bikes, but you also have to get buy-in from the principal and the PE teacher and all that stuff. But thought that was a good takeaway.
Is it buy-in at that lower level, or is the Board of Education involved?
That's
No, you just need
the
a
way they
local,
presented.
a local champion in the school. Usually it's a PE teacher, just who's enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and second what Alan has mentioned here. It was Chris, forget how to say his name, Doane, Doane from Coweta County. And he's involved in mountain biking in Sorba over there and chair of Bike Coweta. And I thought it was a great presentation. I second that. And this actually comes up, I think, in some of our feedback with regard to our bike-friendly community designation about having these programs, these kinds of programs, and creating more of a bike culture. So this is definitely relevant. And I'll leave it at that, but maybe this is something we can pass to committee. If y'all want to explore this as part of our work plan, even informally, we could potentially, we could talk about that. I think we have kind of mentioned, I think I did put it in there. So I'm just seconding Ellen's. Randy?
Yeah, I have to say, I was impressed with the overall, the 3 days, and couple of things that hit me, not being involved with this much until joining the commission, was the individuals from GDOT seemed very passionate about the safety of bike and pedestrian. So that was, very encouraging. That individuals from, throughout the state are all working on the same things that we're trying to improve upon, and all generally running into the same issues that we're running into, but which then lastly made me think, man, I wish I was, a good 40 years younger, because there's a lot of cool stuff happening that we're the East Coast bike trail that one gentleman was talking about that run, in theory would run from Key West up to Maine. And just, a bunch of other trails that people work on, ideas that they'll take forever, but that would be cool someday to have.
Like the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah. But it's just nice to see other people who are out there who are passionate about the same things we are.
Scott?
echo Randy's point, it's always good to be in the same place with all those people from all over the state, no matter if it's here in Athens or wherever the summit is. It's affirming to work with those people and know that they're out there working for all these sorts of same things.
What about you, Daniel? Any takeaways for you?
Enjoyed the networking
Yeah. Mhm.
and yeah, I wasn't able to attend as many sessions as I'd like. Just trying to get back into, catching up with everything. It was the day after I got back from.
Right.
So, but yeah, it was really great to see a bunch of familiar faces of people I work with all the time, usually virtually. And just look forward to hopefully building more momentum and have passion for this type of stuff here in Athens.
It's good that GDOT doesn't like 12-foot wide travel lanes either.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
And as someone who's not an engineer or a planner or a professional, I think that, it's great to just get some kind of like 101 information, get some stuff from GDOT about like what funding mechanisms are available, which Daniel, I mean, you guys know all about this, but it was interesting to me. And then we also watched a session, this is kind of relevant to some of our recent conversation, about bike law, like what happens when you are hit by someone driving. And that was from the bike law folks, Bruce Hagan. So that was useful. I got to learn what is assault. There's simple versus aggravated assault. And what happens is most people driving get charged with simple assault, which is a maximum of 1 year in prison, but that's not likely. And so aggravated assault, the difference there is you have turned something into a weapon against another person. So there's the difference. So it depends on how these crashes are recorded at the time that they happen, what kind of sentencing can even be offered. So again, simple assault is a misdemeanor with maximum 1 year in prison, but not likely. Aggravated assault is a felony with no ceiling on charges. So if an officer is like, okay, this truck hit this person, and just writes down like simple assault or something like that, then that really limits things. Of course, ideally, we just don't want these crashes to occur at all. But I think that the severity of them is being diminished in our court system, and it starts with who shows up on the ground potentially. Again, that's not really our role as a commission. I think it's useful information that maybe could go somewhere. I think it's good to talk about it, and that we can bring this back up when we look at the crash report. But I know that the public is wondering, like, we have so many deaths on our roads. What's going on? What is being done about it? People are, not just pushing it to the side anymore, which is good. So those are some things I learned. Yeah, so glad that we could go and use our funding for that and help sponsor the event. Any other comments on the conference?
I'm just glad we sponsored it. Sounds like it was really worth it.
Our sponsorship level put us on the program, or did it?
Yes, we were on a board. We were definitely, our logo is there.
Yay.
I should have taken a picture. But yes, we were on there. Okay.
Get some love on Facebook.
Oh, they gave us a love on Facebook? Well, I appreciate that. All right, so we are going to move right into staff updates a little early. Todd, are you ready?
I am.
Awesome.
So let me share my screen. All right, can you see everything?
Yes.
It was fine.
Okay, so the Cars Creek Greenway Trail segment, construction's going along pretty good. They're about 50% done with the concrete trail. The walls are pretty well formed up. And they are beginning the process of some of the abutments, they've got them in, and so they're beginning the process of installing the bridges as well. So that one's moving along and still on target for February 2024 completion.
Wow.
Fantastic.
And then Firefly Trail, Winterville, I mean, not Winterville, Phase 3 to Winterville. Splost is still working on acquiring the construction easements. They're getting really close. They're, down, getting to the brass tacks on a couple of them. So they're getting close, and we're having a review meeting of some of the plans coming up in a couple of weeks, to just kind of look at our plans. So hopefully those will go to bid, next, next springish and everything. So, and then just the Greenway expansion, the one in Dudley Park that makes the connection from Dudley Park to Easley Mill. GDOT was originally going to try to bid it, but I think the prices are high right now or something. And so they've decided to push it out to April to see if they can get April 2024 to see if they can get a little more favorable pricing, because their initial amount was pretty high that they were looking at. So that one's coming soon and everything. So that's all of the kind of super active ones. The Nature Center Greenway, they were doing some coring and sampling, I believe, this week or coming up. And so I know they have some social media posts out about it being closed just while they're doing those core samples and that kind of stuff. So
And that was a 1-day closure, correct?
it was just so they could get in there and do the corings. So the samples.
Okay,
So
do
they
you
just
have
want to see what kind of pavement, so what that pavement profile is. So
Dirt than asphalt. That's my
do you
guess.
have a date on when that's going to be paved, or like a season, like summer, or?
they have the initial design plans going on right now. And hold on, sorry, my phone's ringing. I believe they're going to not do it during summer camp.
Oh, okay, sure.
And so it would be more of a fall kind of to spring um, installation is what they're shooting for.
Okay.
Todd, do you have an update on the Dudley Park Greenway kayak launch?
Oh, yes. Other modes of
So-
transportation.
So those are the one at the MLK the MLK Greenway and at Dudley. They should be done by the end of December.
Nice.
So,
For alligators or?
yeah, so the only thing I believe up at the MLK MLK College intersection, I think all they got left is the handrail on that one. We actually went up there and looked at it yesterday, and I didn't make it to Dudley to see how far along they are, but I think December's their goal to get it done.
How did they ensure the concrete goes below the level of water? Did they do like an exclusion thing or?
Well, they did, what do you call it? Is it cofferdams is what it's called? Where
Okay,
they put it out into the water and they pump the water out of the river so that they can, build the ramps.
that's better than Ben Burton.
Yeah, yeah. So it should, and the engineer engineered it based on water levels.
Okay,
And so I'm assuming that there will potentially be periods where it's not, completely in the water, but I believe I had to look, yesterday when we were looking at it, it was in the water, so
Okay. Is it a ramp or stairs?
stairs.
Cool. I'll have to go check it out. I've seen the construction and I was like, oh, we're getting a boat launch.
Yeah, it's close to being
Oh,
done.
yeah. That's wonderful. Thank you, Todd. I'm definitely looking forward to that and not having to slide down a muddy slope with a 10.5 foot
We're back up.
board. Yeah, really. No, getting down is the hard part.
I'm having a hard time visualizing exactly where this is. I've got the Google.
Yes.
College Avenue Bridge,
Say it again?
the College Avenue trailhead for the Greenway.
I hadn't seen that one.
I've just seen the construction.
Yeah.
And then Dudley Park it's just in in Dudley Park.
So that it's where College hits MLK? That parking
Yes.
area right there?
Yeah, that parking area where the new section, the MLK Greenway kind of tees into the OG original Greenway. Todd, I was
Before you get to the
curious,
private property area that
I've gotten a couple questions about the section of trail between North Avenue and Dudley Park. Do you know what the timeline is on that one and where, like, because I know there's a TAP grant for that, right?
Yes, and that one, okay, so the MLK Greenway extension from North Avenue to Dudley. Derek kind of hinted the other day that it might literally be 2030 before GDOT gets that one through its.
That's right, I'm looking for somebody street.
Okay.
So I was like, wow, I'll be 60 years old before this thing is built.
Who's running that one? Splost office?
It's Splost office.
All right, I will.
It's like, what's
What was the reason for a delay? Is it?
It's not delayed, it's just in their
Ross, I was wondering.
long process. So I'm about to share my screen again, just so you can see the College Avenue
Teresa.
launch right quick.
Teresa.
Okay.
Teresa.
Yeah.
He's sharing.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh.
So it's right now the handrail's the only thing missing on it. So
I see the slide in the center, and then my initial thought was like, "Oh, that's an interesting spot for a bike ramp."
yeah, no, it'll actually have what do you call it? It'll have Trex boards on it to make it so that it slides properly.
Nice. Very cool. So this is in Dudley Park, down in that field by the river.
Correct.
Does that make sense, Teresa?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you were asking about the other.
I was asking about
And
the
then-
project, so.
You have the, you have a photo of the one up at MLK and,
Yeah, no, this is MLK one here.
no, MLK in College, the College Avenue trailhead.
Yeah, that's what this photo is. And then the one at Dudley, I don't have a picture of it
Oh, okay.
at all, but because of budget, it will only be one set of stairs with a slide. It won't be two sets of stairs.
Where's the College Avenue Bridge in this photo? Behind you?
It's directly behind me. I'm standing
Okay.
with it
Okay.
to my back.
This is great. I am so excited about this. I mean,
Neat.
Yeah,
I don't think-
we're actually working on our water trail map.
Nice.
That will have at the ramps because
Basically.
Where's College
dead.
Avenue?
have two obstructions that you go have to,
College Square.
you can only paddle up so far to the sewer pipe
yes.
and then down to the,
Charms over here.
whatever we call it, the old dam.
Where, and on the other side of the.
Do you know where Charm is?
Root Street or something. Yeah.
I'm pulling up the map.
There's North Avenue,
Bigger vision.
Ruth Street.
Okay, Root Street
Okay.
becomes College Avenue at MLK, and that's
Okay.
where the parking
All right,
area for the
okay.
Greenway is right there.
Okay.
And that's what we're talking
I'm
about.
oriented on this
Yeah.
project. Was the previous project that I also had trouble with.
What previous,
Figure out where that was.
which one?
The last one on the previous slide.
That is,
So,
Mill Trailhead is
Okay, and it was turned a little bit.
Okokonee Street,
Yeah, where is that?
It's right here.
the flats at Cars Hill.
So, this is Dudley Park
Yeah.
to the right. And then this is where the greenway picks up at the bottom. And so, what Todd was showing is a connector under Oconee Street. So it's just
Okay,
rotated.
now yeah, okay.
Leveraging the existing bridge.
Right, and there's a lot of construction going on over there right now.
That's getting replaced.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
But the bridgehead, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
thank you for the clarification and your patience. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd.
So that
Okay.
other house is gonna connect to the greenway inside Dudley. That's nice, so you don't have to cross Oconee.
Great.
Now I get it.
Yes. So many.
It's a
great
beautiful, it's a
connections
beautiful thing.
Yeah, wow, it's a big deal. So many great projects. And I love the boat launches. I don't think most people realize that we have a river downtown. We have two rivers in Clarke County. So making people aware of our beautiful waterways also helps with conservation and preservation. And it makes it easier to do cleanup along the river too.
Which Stephanie with sustainability just reported that they cleaned up a staggering amount of litter and tires and whatnot from the river in an event recently, which the good news is, as staggering as it was down from previous cleanups.
Okay, yeah,
Todd, is there going to be signage south of Dudley saying, don't
yes.
go south of Dudley on this kayak trail? Or are you going-
Yes, because we don't want people to go south of Dudley or to go north up towards where the sewer pipe crosses the river either. So we'll have to kind of warn people of both hazards.
And the reason for that is dot.
Okay. And Derek,
All right.
Dam, it's like a class 4 rapid, right?
It's
South is a nasty, it's the mill race and it's got a bunch of rebar and it's just.
Yeah. I mean, negotiating the water is not the hard part. It's surviving if you have to crash.
Yeah, so
Keeping kayak bottom in one piece without having rebar holes in it.
yeah, and Derek just sent me a clarification. I don't know if he's watching or what, but he said that the GDOT, the Okokonee Bridge, it's not a delay, but it's their construction's next fall. But that's their schedule. You know, it had to go to May courts is what he's saying. So for a review. So it's on schedule.
all right. And our May courts meeting is tomorrow. So well,
What is make work?
It's Madison.
Well,
Madison,
Athens,
yes.
Clarke,
No, you do it.
No, Madison, Athens,
Clarke.
Clarke, Oconee, transport.
Regional transportation. Segments.
Stuff.
Systems, yes.
Team.
Gold star.
It is, so within the country, we have, counties, cities, those kind of things. We also have MPOs, which are metropolitan planning organizations. And our local MPO is May Courts, based out of the planning department. And they handle all regional transportation plans. So GDOT, our North Avenue project, like any major transportation project that's going on has to go into the TIP, which is the Transportation Improvement Plan. And then that plan is based off of the MTP, which is the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. That one goes out 50 years. The TIP goes out like 4 or 5 years.
It's a lot of TLAs right there. Okay, and it's make court.
May courts.
Make courts. Okay, I was hearing make worth and I didn't understand what was happening here. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Todd. On to the next 20 minutes.
Study.
Um,
As a study. Sorry.
So we'll go on to staff reports. And Daniel, do you want to, because we don't have Sherelle with us, how do you want to approach this? Do you want to do the crash report? Or showing the
Yep.
reports?
Yeah, I was just showing it's study. So
Oh, okay.
anyway, yeah, I'm gonna start off with the crash reports. So. Oh, that's
Very clean desktop.
okay. Let's stop sharing
I could see it on WebEx.
that over here. Share. This screen. Now y'all can see it as well as our people.
I thought this was so impressive.
Can you make it a bit bigger, please?
Yeah. So we won't go through each of these things because unfortunately, the November crash report is fairly lengthy. This is our fatal and vulnerable road user crash report. There's already a couple that we need to add on here, not necessarily fatal, but definitely a vulnerable road user. So the goal here is that we would have like a monthly report of all of the fatal crashes in addition to all of the vulnerable road user crashes, which is bike and pedestrian related. So, and with the fatal, those are obviously the ones where people passed away in the crash. Vulnerable road user crashes, I think we're aiming for serious injuries probably to highlight. In our analyses in general, we actually look at every vulnerable road user crash because sometimes, the difference between a minor injury and fatal injury is just like 1 miles per hour, or like the way it hit someone. So with that, we just really want to make sure that we're looking at all of the crashes. But for the purpose of this, we're probably only going to focus on the fatal and serious crashes, serious vulnerable road user crashes. So on November 2nd, there was a pedestrian involved fatal crash. This is on Highway 29, Harvey Mathis Road, near that intersection. I'm not gonna go into the details of each one, just kind of overview. I think y'all read this. There was a pedestrian involved fatal crash about a week after that on Jackson Street in downtown Athens. This is, I believe,
Coming down the hill?
north. So this is coming from campus.
Okay, so here's campus.
And the pedestrian was crossing on the crosswalk and the vehicle struck them from behind.
So that's at Jittery Joe's.
And yes.
Yeah.
Pedestrian had the right of way.
Yes.
In the
Well-
crosswalk.
We don't know the time of day this was.
This, not here, but let's, we could add that, maybe just in the little.
I know, it'd be real.
This was while I was on vacation, so I am not super familiar with all of
Sure.
this, unfortunately. Normally, I try to have a pretty good understanding, but there were so many to catch up on. It was just.
Yeah.
So, some of the things we have highlighted here, I will touch on. We've been talking about within our local road safety plan, implementing a no right on red, as well as a no left without a green arrow in the downtown core. And then really setting up leading pedestrian interval on all of the signals as well, with no need for push button.
Is that the reason for the no right on red at Barber and Prince?
Generally, yeah. If we have a no right on red, it's usually because there is something it could be a line of sight issue where you can't necessarily see the cars that are coming. But trying to remember at Barber and Prince, coming from Barber onto Prince. Okay,
Yeah.
that is probably, I would guess, bicyclists.
Yeah, because I've always understood it where it was, for example, in the 5 Points intersection where, you know, you obviously you could get confused as to whether or not you can actually make a right turn and everything. But that's clearly just a 4-way intersection, so there had to be some other reason.
I believe it was part of, I would have to double check, but it seems like that would be part of our bike lanes on Prince initiative because we didn't want, you know, a lot of people are only looking for vehicles when they're turning right on red and bicyclists do have the right of way right there.
Yeah.
So we just didn't want them to like not see a bicyclist who's coming across as they turn right.
Not a complaint, just a question.
Oh, yeah, it's a good.
Something I'll note about this intersection here in the Vision Zero response notes is that there's already been 2 other injuries this year at this intersection. I understand it.
I actually witnessed the crash at this intersection as well. I was a pedestrian over here and someone was queued up to turn left and was waiting for the pedestrians. And someone drove around them to turn right like that and cut them off and just.
Brilliant.
Yeah, like drove into the front of their car and it was wild. And people were crossing, you know,
What could go wrong?
like,
We have, real quick, we have leading pedestrian intervals at College and Lumpkin, and we just don't have it as far over as Jackson.
I've not done like a.
Okay, I can confirm that we have leading pedestrian intervals at College Avenue, Lumpkin to the left, and then Jackson would be the next street over to the right.
That's right.
So there is.
So the idea would be to
there
have
is a
them at the
leading-
other blocks.
There is a leading pedestrian interval here?
At Lumpkin? No, not here.
No, not at Jackson.
Not
Okay,
at Jackson.
so.
Yeah.
And at College, it's just
Right.
a pedestrian crossing, basically. That light is actuated when pedestrians need to cross because they close down the vehicular traffic. Yeah, and then Lumpkin, we also have leading pedestrian interval at the corner up here of Lumpkin and Doherty. So if you'll ever notice that a leading pedestrian interval is not working, if you happen to know that that signal has leading pedestrian, I would really like to have a sign or something so that pedestrians know, hey, push this and you get.
What does that mean?
Okay, so
It
basically,
means heads get to cross first before the cars go.
it turns all the lights red. Instead of doing red, green, yeah.
So traffic engineering most recently put one in at Mama's Boy.
Right.
And that has made a huge difference. So these are small changes that don't really, as far as I understand, they don't cost a lot of money, but they can really increase safety.
It's work from our traffic engineering staff and it is really tricky. Whenever there seems to be an issue, like if the power goes out and it's not backed up properly, they have to go out and reprogram it, but it's very specific. Like I've had to go back out with them like 3 times at one signal just to figure out like what's going on. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm happy to like go out and be like, all right, let's walk it together. It's like, good job, you know, this is great.
A true leader.
Yeah. They know how to do the computer stuff. This is pedestrian serious injury, actually on the loop, near the Danielsville Road exit. So one of the, you can see here, I think there's actually 2 crashes that are, there was also a fatal crash on the loop with a pedestrian, near Chase Street. So this is, I think for these things, we're unsure why they were walking on the loop. It's a limited access thing. I do know there's some encampments in the areas. I don't know enough about it to know whether or not they're.
This is also a bridge, like the bridge that goes over the loop here has no sidewalks or anything on it. It's not a pedestrian friendly area at all.
Oh, the Chase Street Bridge?
No, I'm talking about the Danielsville Road.
Oh, Danielsville Road.
And the loop. Like I know the person was on the loop, but I'm just gonna point out, there's no safe way to get over the loop.
This is North Avenue. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So,
North Avenue. There's nothing, there's no sidewalks on the bridge or anything.
This is one of the most insane interchanges I've ever seen.
We're gonna fix it. What you done?
Yeah.
Yay.
Chase Street, all right. Single vehicle fatal crash on Buddy Christian Way. Hit a tree.
I heard about that.
This is one where between 2013 and 2022, there's been 7 crashes at this specific location. One was fatal, and then we have another fatal now. So, you know, we could do some guardrail, paved shoulders. Rumble strips are great, you know, as long as it's not in like a residential area. You could do mumble strips, but I know we had some runoff road crashes on Tallahassee Road, and that one of our things was rumble strips there. So, and we work with GDOT. They have a rumble strip package where they every year they go out and put in rumble strips, and they're doing a lot of them on their roads, and they're also doing them for local municipalities. So we've coordinated with them to get a few around the county.
So were the drivers in these 2 crashes speeding? Or no, I'm sorry, this one crash here. So it's speed related?
I'm not sure.
I believe
Driving
into the crash, the speed is a factor.
Factor,
Yeah,
I believe
and-
it is suspended license.
Yeah, was not wearing a seatbelt.
Okay, that would do it. But he was right across the street from the
Speed,
corner.
and it was wet roads.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Serious injury vehicle crash and fatal pedestrian crash. This one's really tragic.
Yeah.
There was a vehicular crash, T-bone, vehicle 1. Let's see, is this not, let me make sure this is the actual one that I'm thinking of.
There are some vehicles in here that aren't shown because
Yeah.
it was a crash and then there was a second crash.
Yeah, you got the kangaroo station.
Yeah, so this is the one I believe where there's a vehicular crash. Driver 1 was unresponsive, driver 2 got out of the vehicle, went to the gas station, noticed that driver 1 had not gotten out of the vehicle and went to check on them, and then driver 2 was hit and killed as a pedestrian by another vehicle.
And left is south.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, be safe. And if there is a crash, it's, I'm not sure exactly. This is like one of the more complicated ones.
I had to read it like 3 times before I figured it out.
Yeah, there's this really dangerous spot, 55 crashes here, one with a pedestrian. So we have put in a request to add additional lighting, here, just to make it a little bit more easy.
And would that inherently involve a crosswalk?
This is,
Where Old Commerce comes up from the nature center?
that's interesting. It would not involve a crosswalk, but it would be a better lit area. As far as from what I know, I haven't fully read this, so. That being said, I know there was a request at one point through SPLOST to do some sort of signal here, because then you could get transit access to be able to turn at that light. I don't know I don't think it was funded, so.
That community of duplexes in that area is a strong minority community as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't when I lived out there when I was in college.
So that
Actually, a
was,
pretty good place too.
that was the 14th. And then the most recent was actually a bicycle crash. Let me figure it out. Pull that up. This is out near Firefly Trail Phase 3. Sorry, this is like a really weird angle for me. Here we go. So right across from Coyle Middle School, there was southbound two bicyclists riding safely. They had reflective stuff, I believe, lights. It was in the middle of the day. Distracted driver coming from behind was messing with his hands-free thing to take a call and hit both cyclists. Both have sustained serious injuries and are getting surgery, I think right now. And they are still doing the investigation on it.
When did this happen?
The driver was at fault. This is Friday, I believe. Scott, is that right?
Yes.
Friday, right after Thanksgiving?
Mhm.
And they were experienced road cyclists, like,
We were going like 20 miles an hour.
yeah, they were not like doing weird stuff. So I did reach out to PD with some questions and they answered, it was very helpful. But I was asking about whether they were getting charged with the motorist passing cyclists law, the 3 feet law. And just kind of what the next steps are generally. So yeah, that's as far as I know, all the crashes and serious injuries and stuff from November. Hopefully we don't have any more. We still got, I think, 2 days.
1 month is a lot.
It's record. Yeah, we have not had that many in 1 month. So we are currently at 19 fatalities this year. And the highest on record was 2 years ago, and it was 23 or 24. So
Let's let that record stay.
yeah, that would be the goal. So that took a little longer than I wanted to, but the next thing that I wanted to talk about, how much more time do I have?
You can take 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So the Athens in Motion updates. So we've had some internal discussions to begin our update to the Athens in Motion plan. We have been getting an idea of what an on-call consultant would charge to help us with some of those subtasks. For the most part, I will be doing the update and then working with our consultant for the subtasks. And at the same time, we also, with the Safe Streets for All funding, that request for qualifications process of choosing a consultant is underway. And that should be finished up in December. So once we know who our sub-consultant or who our consultant is for the Safe Streets for All action plan, there's a lot of overlap between the tasks that need to be done for the Safe Streets for All and the tasks that would be required for the Athens in Motion plan update. And there's some availability of, potentially using T-SPLOST funds to pay for some of those things. But if it's, I think especially with it wouldn't get done any sooner by using T-SPLOST or operational funds to pay for these things. So I think it makes most sense to go through. We've identified where items from the Safe Streets for All efforts that will kind of inform the Athens in Motion plan update. So, we've been meeting, we've been going through kind of, here's all the next steps that'll be in the Athens in Motion update. And so just gonna look at this. So we've got safety analysis that would be done in that, and that would fit into our new safety metric within the criteria for the prioritization of projects. We've got, and so with that, we definitely want to have that finished up and then bring it in as a data point. Data collection, just in terms of asset inventory. We have like a pretty decent inventory at the moment, but there's some things we're missing. And it would be really helpful to use those to kind of do the full comprehensive planning of our network. So, one of the things from the previous iteration of the Athens in Motion plan is really like, here are all of the projects, and it's like 120 something projects. It's not every road in Athens though. The projects went along the roads, but it doesn't necessarily cover the entirety of Athens. So what we have been really building the methodology for is to essentially look at all of the roads and their volumes and existing infrastructure, speeding, those kind of factors. And based on the characteristics of all of the roadways, determine what is the safest facility for bikes, pedestrians, bicyclists and pedestrians. With bicyclists, there's some neighborhood roads that are really easy to just ride around on, and you don't have to worry about having a bike lane. In other places, it is okay to have a bike lane. In some cases, you need separated. In the same way, we're kind of taking that approach with the pedestrian infrastructure as well. In terms of level of comfort there, we really, it's a difference between walking on a sidewalk with a 3-foot buffer in a neighborhood and walking along a highway with a 3-foot buffer is very different.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to feel comfortable. So like a highway, you would feel much better to be 10 to 15 feet off. So as we collect that data, we're going to actually be able to get a better understanding of our level of comfort and how we should be really planning these things. Because if we can get those projects planned ahead of time, then we can work with the planning department to say, okay, here is what we're building on that road in regarding sidewalks. And so as development comes in, rather than just them building to the minimum standard, we can actually make sure that we're getting the appropriate amount of right of way and facilities built.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Is it the intent to develop a sidewalk plan analogous to the crosswalk plan?
So the crosswalk policy?
Yeah.
So it's not so much just that's not necessarily a crosswalk plan, more of like, this is how we're going to determine whether a crosswalk is warranted.
Don't let planner policy bog you down.
Perfect. All right. With the sidewalk, that ideally is a plan. Like, we are talking about, one of the things that'll be identified is our sidewalk gaps. And so, if the minimum standard for our roads is that we want at least the sidewalk on one side of every road, and then make a determination for the factors that warrant having sidewalk on both sides of the road. Because in some cases, like in my neighborhood, for instance, really, like, you can walk in the street fine. You could have a sidewalk on one side, but it's not mandatory. You definitely don't need it on both. You're really getting into front yards and private property and exponential costs. But in some cases, like along Prince Avenue, you do want sidewalk on both sides. So having that master plan that really says this is everywhere that we need sidewalk, and then from there categorizing them into whether they're sidewalk gaps that could be covered in the sidewalk gap program, or if they are capital projects that need to be within Athens in Motion.
I don't want to waste your time and belabor the point or anything. It just strikes me that might well be a circumstance where, a set of variables like the amount of traffic, the amount of pedestrian traffic, et cetera, could be used to formulate, we need it here, no, it'll wait, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. And when it really comes down to prioritization, and that's stuff that I think will definitely be bringing to the commission, and notably the project's policy committee, to kind of help, as we work on those next steps. Yeah.
How much of this is for new development? How much of this is the responsibility of the new developers? Is there code in place for they have to put in sidewalks and bike lanes and things?
Yeah. So as of right now, there is, I'm not super familiar with code, but there is a requirement for most types of development to build sidewalk on the road frontage, they can get a variance. And sometimes they do get one and sometimes they don't. Sometimes those get to me and sometimes they don't. You know, I'm not directly involved in plans review. I get notified. And when I have time, I try to look at it, but because I'm not like an active part of it, and if I did, I wouldn't have time to do my job. It's a very time intensive process. But with all of that, really, that's more of like the goal to get to the point to where we can kind of have better, and that's part of what the technical standards that we're bringing forth in, I believe that's in January, we're doing technical standards at the Mayor and Commission. It may be helpful, I'll talk to Ronnie to see if it would be helpful for y'all to write a letter of support. This is kind of round one of technical standards. We would like to do a second round. There was we've had a lot of back and forth, a lot of discussion. There's some things that are a lot more sensitive topics that, you know, rather than going through weeks and weeks of discussion, we were like, let's do all the low hanging fruit, get that through our technical standards update, which needs to be, I think it's been like a decade or more since we updated those. And within that, we have a lot more bike facilities and stuff. That all being said, there is not something in ordinance that requires development to build bike lanes. Sometimes they'll do it, but that's part of, you know, with creating technical standards or, you know, our plan, we at least have, this is the types of bike lanes and the dimensions and generally like these are the details that can be referenced. And then the goal is to go in, work with planning to develop ordinance when planning is ready to do that and really kind of reference those standards. It's a very, like, it's a lot of moving parts because there's a lot of departments involved in that. And so ultimately, the purpose of the Athens in Motion plan is just the master plan of everything. But the goal here is that the biggest notable change is that we really want to look at like all of the roads comprehensively. Here's everything. And then of that, here's the things that we've identified as projects within that overall network. And then here's the way that we're going to prioritize those projects with these new data sets, you know, and analyses. And then an equity analysis, you know, and using all of those as points for the criteria to be so that's the criteria there. And so you have that list of projects that's generated, and then those are prioritized into tier 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, so the consultant's going to help with that. Is consultant also going to help with public engagement? Do we get pulled in at that point?
So
What is our role going forward as a commission?
yeah, I will
To be determined or?
continue, it's TBD because like ultimately, like we did talk with the manager and, you know, we've been operating under the kind of assumption, and this is kind of based on the way that the Greenway Commission does it, that the commission, Athens in Motion Commission, is charged with doing the updates. In reality, I think that's like not feasible. You know, the Greenway Commission, while they're charged with doing it, you know, while I was in park planning, I did the majority of that work. And I think in that same case, it makes sense that staff would be in charge of doing the update. We work with y'all hand in hand to make sure that y'all are on board with the updates.
It's a professional task.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're estimating there's kind of multiple ways to do it. And we'll talk more about this, but you know, the Safe Streets for All, for instance, is going to have a pretty comprehensive, public engagement portion.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it would cost for us to get our on-calls, it would cost probably about $25,000 to do public engagement just for the Athens in Motion plan. So that's a possibility, and we could do a standalone thing that includes doing the wiki map and tabling and, you know, coffee with commissioners, you know, working with town halls, having the, you know, people, you know, engineers like be in the room to talk and really get a lot of awareness. It was pretty good results last time we did it. So we could do that, and it would probably be about 20,000. Or we could kind of work with, and see, this is where we'll know more once we have a selected firm.
Okay.
So,
So basically, our ad hoc plan revision committee, I think it's gonna be, on hold for now until,
there's things that we could work on, but,
yeah.
yeah, I have a pretty good, I'm really digging in and like getting going on this. This is gonna be like the primary stuff that I work on for the next like 6 months.
Okay.
So I'm happy to keep meeting with the ad hoc committee. There's other things that we can work on.
Do you think, you'll have someone, a consultant by the end of January?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So
We will know by January whether or not, like, we'll have a much better idea for what we're looking for in our Athens in Motion plan.
Okay.
Because ultimately, the way that I think it would make the most sense is for us to say like, okay, here's what the public input costs, 20, 30,000. And then have a retainer of just, here are services that could be provided at an hourly rate. And like, here is the amount of money that we have kind of set aside for that. We've been tossing around the idea of like $50,000 to $70,000 to just be able to work with, if I'm in need of, hey, I really need y'all's help with this whole equity section because it's really diving in deep on research and I'd love to get your help with coming and talking, having meetings to discuss like pop up in neighborhoods, those kind of things.
All right, so I guess the TLDR is getting a consultant, know more when we have a consultant. And maybe you can come back to us with an update with our January meeting. And
Yeah.
we'll decide like if we need to break out at that point or figure out like what we can do to help move things along.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the things that would be helpful for us to talk about in that ad hoc committee, like for instance, here's an idea of what criteria would determine where bike infrastructure should be, right? So we need vehicle volume for all of our roads. We need speed, actual speeds versus speed limit. Like go through that list of like, here's all of the data, like inventory data that we absolutely need. And then that can help kind of inform we'll know which things we need to bring into and have that analysis ready to go once we get all that data. And stuff.
Great.
Madam Chair, if I might point out, you better hurry.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing no ad hoc until sometime beginning of next year.
Yeah, until February, I would say, at the least.
I think we could do an ad hoc still, but it's up to you.
I mean,
I think I would need to know what specifically we would be meeting on.
Okay.
We can take that conversation to email. We gotta move on. Because we have to end this meeting at 5:30. 5:30. Okay, thank you, Daniel. That's very exciting. Yeah, Julie, did you have any questions there? I've not been checking in with you.
No, it's totally okay. I did not have any questions. That was very helpful information.
Okay. Great. All right, we'll move on to our annual report and work plan for next year. So I sent a copy of this to y'all. I want to thank the committee chairs for taking a look at this and going through leaving some notes and making some updates. I appreciate that. We do this every year. This is the first year I've tried to put in pictures. Okay, yes, at the beginning. Woohoo. It's November 28th. Okay, it's the correct date. So I don't have pictures of everyone because a lot of y'all have only been on this commission for like 3 or 4 months. So I'm sorry about that, but I kind of tried to throw some stuff in there. Julie, you're in there. You're just tiny.
I see me in there. I made it.
Yes.
I see your little face in there.
Yeah, luckily we had that bike walk live summit, so I could get some extra pictures of folks. This was Daniel leading a ride there, and then there's Sherelle at the local road safety workshop, and you can also see Tim and Stephen and our Commissioner Jesse.
That's the mayor.
Actually, yeah. And then that was Art's first tabling, and then there's Randy talking to a student who was very interested. And yeah, the great photo of Daniel and Sherelle. So what we do is we kind of talk about our year in review. There's Randy doing the Prince Avenue tour. I always have this page about what we are, major duties and responsibilities. You all know this, but we're 9 members, and we had Art, Julie, Alan, and Ed join us. And we're so thrilled to have y'all on the commission. You've jumped right in. And then we said goodbyes to James, John, Mark, and Dale this past year. So we thank them for their service. We've had 3 committees this year. Grants and data has kind of been set aside, but education outreach, policy and projects, and then our plan revision committee. We also have folks participating in the corridor committees. And so that's an overview of us. And then I wanted to pull out some recognition that Athens-Clarke County received, and we were part of those efforts. And these happened so quickly that I don't think we spent a lot of time on the follow-up. We spent a few years working on our complete streets policy, and then it was a top 15 policy, named a top 15 policy in America. I mean, we're literally number 15 on this list, and I kind of had to look twice and be like, is this for real? But we are. I mean, that doesn't mean it's perfect. There's still a lot of room for improvement over the years, maybe the next iteration.
Are we tied for 14 or are we 15?
Is that what it is?
I think
That might have been true, because we got a score of 74, and I didn't.
I think someone else has a 74.
I might have that.
Not that that matters.
I'm like, what is this?
Top 15.
It wasn't, we didn't make the top 10 list, you know,
We did not
almost
make the
though.
top 10 list. Yeah, I don't see, I don't have the scores on this one. So in case if you doubt me, this is Smart Growth America. This is their website. There's Athens-Clarke County. Oh, no, we're not tied. We're there.
Okay.
So sorry, this is tiny, but we are there, and we're see, look, if you look at all the states here, Georgia doesn't show up until number 15, Athens-Clarke County. Look at us. All that hard work paid off. Awesome.
Yeah, Maryland's got it covered.
Yeah, no kidding.
My guess is they built their scoring metric off of Maryland's. That's how they usually happen.
Cynicism.
Where did you find that entire list?
It's on the Smart Growth America Best Complete Streets site.
Mhm.
And
I think I got 5 emails from people saying, hey, have you submitted our thing to this? And I immediately submitted it like day one, as soon as I saw it.
Oh, here we go, I found it.
And this, we spent 2 years working on it, and it passed unanimously by the Mayor Commission in 2022. So we are a model in the state of Georgia. That's a big deal. I spent so much time on that. And I want to thank Stephen, who was with us in between Bike Ped staff. And so please convey his thanks again.
Oh, and I'm presenting to the Atlanta Regional Commission our complete streets policy
Nice,
next month,
great.
this month. In a couple.
Another great thing is we were awarded the bronze level bicycle friendly community designation. I am going to attach this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to pull this back up is this is a wonderful report card, because it not just says like, okay, you guys are doing a good job, but it talks specifically about what we can do to be better. And some of this is mentioned or alluded to. A lot of it's alluded to in our plan, but this gets very specific. Daniel spent so much time on this application.
Yeah.
And we tried to help where we could, but unfortunately only one person can work on it at a time. And it wasn't just Daniel, like several people in the community had to fill out surveys. So this isn't just like, what does Daniel think about our bike ped infrastructure? What does Athens-Clarke County think? What's the community perception? So I think that this is a great place to start from, where we can improve specifically. We were awarded a bronze designation before, and we are improving. It's just that stakes are getting higher. We're maintaining the course, but we're not really advancing, because it's no longer acceptable to just put in a bike lane on a road where people are driving 50 miles an hour. You have to have better facilities, and we have to build a culture of people biking.
Or do the links on these last two sections, the bike friendly and complete streets, do they take us to those rankings and how to improve pages?
So,
It doesn't on my phone right now, reading off of the Google
Yes.
Drive.
yes.
It does.
Okay, that's that.
But I want to, and I might need to get, I don't have a PDF compiler, but I would like to take this document. And that's why I said that there's gonna be attachments and include the bronze level bicycle friendly community attachment. And then there's a DOT case study as well on our complete streets policy that I would like to attach and just have that in there, because this will be sent off to our mayor and commissioners. So they understand, where we'll be supporting staff. So at a glance, 2023, policy-wise, we have the crosswalks policy, and that will be presented in 2024, right? Did I make that up?
Yeah, January.
Yes. We also presented an updated recommendation for facilities along Barber Street, which passed with a CDO. And we were out in the community tabling numerous events, and something that I haven't documented until now is all the other things that we participate in, the walk audits, public input, panels, things like that. So we had 9 meetings in addition to our committee meetings. And some of our major activities included the small programs, so the right thing, development, so sidewalk gaps, bike lanes, ADA improvements, pilot projects, complete streets implementation, and grant matching funds, which is in the data gathering phase and will come before mayor and commission, those individual programs, when they are ready. But they got a preview of that this fall. So thanks to Policy and Projects for your work on that. And there's that crosswalks policy rewrite, going into detail about Barber Street. We provided 2 official letters and recommendations, and that was in support of Transportation Public Works' grant applications for reconnecting communities and neighborhoods planning grant.
Still waiting to hear on the reconnecting communities.
And this is a recent photo. It has Alan along the Doherty Street, Prince Avenue walk with the mayor recently. We tabled 5 events, REI grand opening, which we tacked on with Bike Athens. Thanks for getting that together. The Trail Creek Trestle opening, the Clarke County School District Family Day, UGA Bike and Pedestrian Safety Day, and Porch Fest. So we're hitting these various areas of our community. I think that these are great events to do next year. I love that we're out there talking with folks. But besides that, Teresa and I don't remember, was anyone else there at the local roadway safety workshop? Okay. So we did that. It was put on by Sherelle. Teresa did the Mitchell Bridge walk audit, was very brave on that one. There's no facility.
I was surrounded by big guys wearing reflective vests. I felt so.
I stand that. Teresa was also recently at some public engagement for North Avenue. And then Teresa and I did a Barber Street walk with staff, elected officials, and property owners. And Randy did a staff ride audit in June. This may not be everything that we were part of, but I'm trying to get it in there. And of course, there was the Georgia Bikes Bike Walk Live Summit, which myself, Alan, Craig, and Randy attended. I did the Federation Neighborhoods panel. Daniel was also there.
That was the shit.
Yeah, I know. And then we recently talked to a first-year Odyssey class at UGA for some students.
What is that?
It's like a breakout seminar class. They meet once a week and they touch on specific things. I think this particular one, Scott, you might know a little better, but it's focused on bicycles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Chris Mojock is a professor in the Department of, I don't know, kinesiology or sports and things like that. And all the UGA students have to take an Odyssey class their freshman year. It's a seminar class. Everybody is going to get a passing grade. And his is focused on bikes. It's very popular. I teach the safety bit and we go on a bike ride and then we have a little round table and talk about policy and like safety and things like that.
Cool. committees. We tabled 5 events. Notably, we gave away hundreds of reflective vests to adults and children, as well as bike lights.
I've been seeing them around,
Yeah.
not just on homeless people.
And that's great because we're, you know, while we're trying to improve infrastructure, we can help people be seen. Sponsored the Georgia Bikes Summit. And the Education Outreach Committee continues to do social media posting about safety. Policy and projects was busy, as we mentioned before. There was the crosswalks policy, small programs development, and the ongoing efforts include bike ordinances, which staff is working on as time allows. And also talked about new projects going forward. Actually, this is taking early 2020. Is this older?
Yeah.
This is 21. Okay. And then bike rack distribution. Working on a process there. The ad hoc plan revision committee approved an outline draft. We updated goals and we reviewed and soft launched the wiki map and survey for data collecting. In our ongoing efforts, some things we can work on next year is a more formal launch of the wiki map and a public engagement plan. Then there are the corridor committees. Mark and I have served on Prince Avenue. Teresa continues to serve on Atlanta Highway and Randy continues to serve on Lexington.
You know what? Alan's been on Atlanta Highway
Yeah.
forever too, so now that he's on the commission, we need to plug him in.
I don't know, we might have too much influence. Y'all are gonna have to duke it out and decide who's on there. That's fine, we can put you both on there. So that's our year in review, and in a moment, we're gonna vote on this. But then we also have our work plan for 2024. So here's what I have put down. As a recap, the work plan is mainly about policy and stuff that could come before the mayor and commission as a vote. So we don't need to detail everything we're doing, every event we're going to table. It's stuff that they may need to see, because when it comes up before then, sometimes they ask like, okay, well, why are we hearing about this from Athens in Motion? Oh, it's part of your work plan. Cool, that's fine. So that includes supporting staff in the new crosswalks policy that will be presented in January, bike and pedestrian programs development, continuing the 5-year plan revision for the Athens in Motion plan, continue examining bike ordinances as time allows. Daniel's going to be pretty busy. And then reviewing policy and programs with staff, particularly those related to feedback on the bicycle-friendly communities critique. So, you know, that may be triggered by something Daniel sees and needs some support on. And so I've kind of kept that broad because there's a lot in there. Yes.
Does it matter up above that now that I'm on here, I'm also part of the T-SPLOS 2023. Is that something that fits in there? Up in the
That's
related to the corridor committees, but not
so much. I think
okay.
with that,
It's different.
yeah, it's different. Because we kind of get a bonus because you're also on that group to give us a report back.
If it was an Athens in Motion appointed position,
It's not.
then I would say, yeah, but
We're just taking advantage of the fact that you're also part of that
not
group.
taking advantage.
Utilizing
Fitting.
resources efficiently.
What's really going on?
Having completed the required training, that does not sound like a conflict of interest.
Thank you for asking that. So our additional efforts I just want to go ahead and mention to the mayor and commission is program development, increasing our education and communication and implementing our plan there. And any additional recommendations from the bicycle friendly communities review that are not policy items. It may not need to come before mayor and commission for a vote. So questions, comments about either of these, Teresa?
Real easy one at the very bottom, attachments. Do you want to put the hyperlinks to those documents in?
What I'm going to do, I wanted to actually attach them. but I don't have a PDF compiler.
Send it to me.
Okay.
That'd be fine too.
Because the alternative is if these are things, like I can upload them to our web server as documents. So if we want them to be URLs, we can upload like the bike friendly community thing into the document center and reference it. But I can also just put it in there as a PDF.
Yeah,
Those super long, is that gonna add too much bulk to the?
it's not too, they're not too long.
What's the DOT case study?
It is,
Is that GDOT?
it was the federal DOT
Okay, I'm in the US.
somewhere.
That's right.
It's somewhere. I think I linked to it.
Okay.
As well.
I would propose, I think it looks like work plan items currently are shown in terms of, it looks like maybe it started off as like in order of when we would be doing something, but it might be good to do it in terms of importance. Like I think, especially with all the requests I've gotten or questions I've gotten about the AIM revision, I would maybe put that at the top.
Okay, you want to do it instead of importance instead of when it's gonna come up?
Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
just in term, just.
Oh, yeah, you can. That's good.
If that's okay. So,
Not really super related, but the fact that we are a bronze for bicycle friendly community, apparently the bar is not set incredibly high for bronze since we're about 30% of their criteria. What does it take to get to silver?
Well, that's in our feedback.
yeah, so
I see what it's at, but there's no set, like we need 40% or.
oh, yeah, no, they basically give us a breakdown of things to improve that are incremental steps towards getting silver.
Okay.
I did not receive like a threshold number.
Okay.
And even in the past, what they've done is they say, on average, silver communities have these stats. So it could be that you actually get it if you're low, like you don't, like if you don't have this thing or you don't have enough percentage of the network, but you have a high percentage of engagement, then you know that could kind of balance it out. But
So there is a subjective factor.
absolutely. Yeah, as far as I know. It's a very complex application.
And Lauren, I have had a chance to read this and want to compliment you putting it together and everyone who contributed to it. Are you planning on, and I know we're going to vote on it probably very shortly, but are you going to leave it there? I would love to go through and just look for, typographical errata and whatnot, or you feel that you're ready to run?
We need to rock this today.
In that case, then let's rock it as is.
So,
Obviously, we'll make this motion here to accept this and submit it. It would be subject to some last minute fine tuning. Should we find something?
sure. That's all.
That was exactly what I was hoping to hear.
Julie, do you have any comments?
I don't have any comments. It looks great. I appreciate you putting it together. Very excited for 2024.
Any other,
Do we want to have them split out as two separate documents so that a work plan could be shared as an independent?
I would say,
Prefer to have them as,
well,
So they have full context?
it's one right now and it's 5 after.
I mean, but like we could make a vote on,
let's vote on them separately, and if we need to pull out, it's easy to pull out a page, right? From this. So if, I just don't have a PDF compiler.
yeah, I was just wondering, like literally it would be insert another title slide halfway through that says Athens Motion Work Plan 2024. I'm kind of wondering, to get a vibe from y'all, would you prefer to have them linked together into a 14-page document or however many? or 15-page document, or have them as two separate things, knowing that sometimes decision makers don't always read.
Okay, so this is what I plan to do with this, and what I usually do is I'm gonna attach this PDF. And then I paste certain parts of it into the email itself.
Okay.
And that will include the work plan. Gotcha. Because commissioners are busy, and some of them will look at it now and some of them will want to refer to it later. And that's okay. Does that sound good?
I'm not really sure what you just said. I get the part about people not wanting to read.
That's not what I said. I'm sure.
They
I'm sure
may
I-
want to read it
Later,
later.
later.
Any commissioner watching.
Understand they're busy and, you know, you kind of skim and figure out, okay, I can refer back to this later.
I mean, at this point, looking at table of contents and everything like that, it would be a whole lot of restructuring it, I think, to break it into two. But if you say, as you indicated, that we vote on both parts of this,
Yes,
that leaves our avenues open.
yes.
We can do formatting stuff and keep the content the same. I think my just general question is, do you want them tied as one document or split into two? And I can help with the splitting. It's not a big deal.
Is there a precedent?
No.
Okay.
I think,
In the past, we've done this separately, or I've, like last year, I alluded to the work plan and then we didn't formally pass one. So this is why we're taking care of this now.
Right, right.
And be done.
And be done. Okay, you know what? Let's just do it this way. If we need to extract, we can. Because I'm taking two
Perfect.
separate votes either way.
Okay.
So with that, I will first entertain a motion to approve our annual report for 2023.
Second.
Teresa first, Ed second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right, we have our annual report for 2023. Now entertain a motion to approve our work plan for 2024.
So moved.
First from Ed.
Second.
Second from Randy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay. Great. So we are over time for our meeting. So I want to thank you all for a great year and for sticking around and for joining the Athens in Motion Commission. Looking forward to next year. We'll meet in January. We might send a couple more things out via email. And I'll work with Daniel to compile this with our bicycle-friendly community designation and this case study I was done about our complete streets policy. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
First from Ed.
Second.
Second from Alan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Julie, I hope you
He's
feel
in the
better.
books.
Yeah.
Get better.
And Art.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
I don't feel that bad. I
Feeling better.
just don't.
Yeah, no, I'm glad.
Art, you're sick too?
It's not COVID. I tested yesterday, but I got something for Thanksgiving.
Of course.
There's been some crud going around.
I don't want to re-gift it.
Thank you. This is the best gift of all.
Yeah.
So remind me, we have nothing between now and the end of the year.
That's right.
Let's reschedule.
Yeah,